You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis. Today I have two very special guests with me, two friends of mine, brothers that I went through Centerpoint with, I peer mentored with, that I look up to. Cody Cox, how's it going, man?
How y'all doing?
And Lawson Niehoff, how you doing, bud? Yeah, man, I really look up to these guys, man, because they've persevered through this. Not everyone that we went through recovery with is doing good, and these guys are still doing good. They're doing the deal. And, I know Cody struggled with a lot of things and persevered through it, stayed in position, and I really look up to him for that. Lawson also has done the same, and I also look up to Lawson because he's so young and has grasped this stuff, which is hard for everyone to do. Today we're gonna talk about willingness and perseverance, two things that are very important to me in my recovery. Willingness is the spiritual principle behind step 6, and that's where everything kind of clicked for me, to realize that all I had to do was be willing to work on myself every day to be a little bit better. I'm wearing this shirt today that says "We are not saints," and I kind of got it made as a looked at it as an excuse to kind of be like, I'm still a bad boy, you know what I mean? But I was wearing it in an elevator one day in Louisville, and an old man got in. He was wearing an AA hat, and he looked at me. I didn't know him from anywhere, and he said, "Yeah, but we're trying to be." And I was like, "That's true, because it's not an excuse. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to work on myself a little bit every day, and that's where the willingness comes in, and perseverance, man. I haven't struggled a whole lot in my recovery. I mean, I deal with life on life like everybody else, but it hasn't been like I've had to deal with anything really hard to persevere through. But it's by looking at people who do and seeing them persevere that I learn. Cody, man, what does willingness and perseverance mean to you in your recovery? What have you persevered through?
For me, going through treatment, I thought I knew what perseverance meant. But I really didn't know the true definition of perseverance until I got out of treatment and I was on my own, trying to make a way on my own. That's when everything hit hard for me. Man, I've been through some stuff. As some of y'all know, I'm in drug court. I've had some some bumps in the road. Yeah. In that. There was times where I even just felt like just giving up, but just like you said, I stayed in position and kept it pushing and kept putting God first, even when I wasn't sure that I was doing that, and He's seen me through, and it's starting to show. And going off willingness, I know it's the spiritual principle behind step 6, but I feel like in order to stay sober in general, that's one of the first things you have to have anyway, even when you don't really mean it, to go to any length, do it when you don't even know that that's truly what you want. That's how it started for me. I didn't know I wanted to stay sober, to do something different, but I was just going off of what these guys that come before me were talking about and just gave it a shot, Eventually I speaked it into existence. I'm sitting here with you today.
Yeah, and I'm glad you are. Because I know, things were going good, and then you hit some bumps. And then things started going good again, and you hit more bumps. And every time you persevered through, you stayed in position, and I really look up to you for that, man.
And just like today, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I just went through a bump yesterday, if I'm being all the way honest. But you know what? I'm not stressed out about it today. It's not eating up at me today, because today I can take responsibility for my actions, and I know it's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? I've endured so much. There's not too much that bothers me. I know that it's happening for a reason, and God's going to see me through it.
Yeah, For sure. Well, Austin, what about you, man? What does willingness meant and perseverance meant to you in your recovery?
Man, I think a lot like Cody does with perseverance. I really thought that I knew what it meant or that I had it while I was in treatment because, like, all the little bitty bumps that I went through in treatment, as you know and Cody knows, I thought that was perseverance. But like Cody said, until I got out of treatment and started living this out here in the real world, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing as far as perseverance goes. And I found that out very quickly because I easily beat myself up over things instead of just facing it and running again.
Most definitely.
So that was one of the hardest realizations for me as far as the life on life goes because I thought I had it instead of looking for it, you know? And then with willingness, like you all were saying, it's the spiritual principle behind step 6. But for me, I also know that I have to be willing to do anything. Like I had to be willing to come here and do this podcast today. So willingness for me, you can apply in any situation of your life, even out in addiction. I had a hell of a lot of willingness out there because I put up with a lot to get what I wanted or to do what I wanted to do. And I try to keep that same kind of energy with what I do today too, because I knew that I'd go to any length for drugs or alcohol. So in my recovery, I need to go to any length to stay sober and to help another person. So,
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's where I'm at with those two.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with willingness. You know, I was willing to be sober if it was required no action or effort back in my addiction, you know. But that with willingness, actually, you have to put forth action and effort. You know, you have to be willing to actually do something. It's not going to just magically, you know, anything you want in life, you have to put effort into. You have to work towards. You know, I know like one of your speed bumps was you left because you were getting some consequences or something, and you had to go get a little more pain, and you came back, and when you came back, you really I felt like you grasped it. And as you've stayed in position, you know, like now you know working with YPR, which is awesome. You know, like trying to really giving back, you're chairing meetings. You know that I really look up for you to that too.
We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is, despite their name, they are never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
Talk about YPR a little bit.
Like basically just a YPR overview.
Sure.
Well, Young People in Recovery, I've been affiliated with them for like 2 years, maybe 2.5. And from my very first time going to a YPR meeting, I liked it because it's a lot less organized or governed than, say, AA or NA is, in my opinion, which that's not to put them down at all. That's the program that I work, the program that most people in recovery that I know work. But YPR is just meant to be another avenue of support for people in recovery, and it's a non-judgmental, non-biased, all recovery format. So anybody, no matter what walk of life you're from in recovery, or if you just support recovery or have dealt with other people that were in addiction or alcoholism, that's what YPR is for. It's for anybody who has been affected by recovery or anybody who is in their own form of recovery to have more resources and help. We're trying to get more active in the community. I'm sure, as both of y'all know, we do pro-social events and all recovery meetings. But currently I'm actually trying to reach out to McCracken County Drug Court and give them a YPR overview, get them to start kind of almost promoting YPR in drug court, and then also trying to get just some more some more pro-social events, get out in the community and just engage in fellowship, you know? Because that stuff really helps me. I don't know about anybody else, but doing these pro-social events, just having fun with other people in recovery, that's a big thing for me, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I was going to talk about that, too, that, like, you know, we hang out a lot, not as much as I'd like, but we hang out. Like, Cody's been bowling with us. We talk about bowling on our line. Cody beat me the other night by 1 point. And
I still beat you.
and, you know, Lawson and I are going hiking today, which I'm looking forward to. You know, it's fun stuff like that we get to do together. And we do those, YPR does those events, too, as does Turning Point. You know, I really enjoyed YPR coming through the program because it was just that something different, you know, like you can crosstalk, you know, it was more relaxed. It wasn't, you know, there wasn't the readings. And, you know, I think that, like, we support all forms of recovery. And if that's the only thing you need, that's great. I like to use all different programs. AA, NA, YPR, SMART. I pull something from all those and, you know, apply them to my program, you know, because for me, it's about, my recovery is all about body, mind, and spirit, man, improving all of it to make the best version of myself. And that requires all the information that I can get about it and applying it, as we're talking about, being willing to be open-minded about these other pathways and using what works for me and applying it to make the best overall version of myself. Cody, what do you got on? You've enjoyed YPR coming through there.
Yeah, I remember my first YPR meeting I went to. What I enjoyed most about it was how diverse it was, you know. Like, and I love the fact how you can grab all these different people from these different recovery backgrounds and bring them all in one place, and they can all mingle. Versus to what it used to be like years ago where, oh, well, I'm a part of this program and they're a part of this program. And we're not, you know, it's just, I just feel like everybody's at one at YPR, you know. There's no judgment. You can be yourself. You can announce yourself as anything. That's what I love about it. It's somewhat of, I don't know, you kind of feel free in that meeting. And that's not to shun any other program down because I got sober through the 12-step program of AA. So, but yeah, that's what I really love about YPR. And it's something different, like every week. It's not, you know, and that's what we need in recovery. We get bored with the same thing over and over and over again. As an alcoholic and addict anyway, and I think that puts a lot of light in people's paths. You know. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm glad there's things like that are out there. And, you know, it's not just for young people in recovery because I'm by no means young. We make the joke every meeting. I'm young at heart, but, you know, it's for people who are young in recovery.
And that's to anybody's definition, too. If you're a young person in recovery, whatever you define that as, you're a young person in recovery then, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so
I mean, my thing is though, when are you ever old in recovery? Because it's like, no, seriously, because it's like when you stop doing what you know you need to do, you'll find yourself back where you come from.
Exactly. Yep. You should always act like you're young in recovery because it's the people who are still going to meetings, who are talking to their sponsor regularly, who are, you know, helping other people. It's those people who have the, you know, multiple years of sobriety. It's not the people who are slacking on it because those people usually go back out. You know, I think that's a great point. You know, if you always act like this is rehab, even, you know, like that you need this stuff or it's even required of you, then you have a better chance. You know, it's a good thing if, you know, you start to enjoy it and actually benefit from it. And like for me, I know that, you know, when I graduated Centerpoint, I was at the point where I was sick of meetings because you got so many there, especially at the end when you got to hit every meeting on your way out. And I was like, I'm not going to a meeting for a month when I graduated. But then I had 2 weeks before I started peer mentoring, so I ended up going to 10 meetings in those 2 weeks just because I didn't have anything to do, but that it was outside meetings as opposed to like while I was in there, we were locked down the whole time. I couldn't go to any outside meeting. And one thing I learned in starting to go to outside meetings is one, you're meeting people out in the community who are in recovery, but going through that long-term program, I realized how much knowledge we gained, you know, by fully working the 12 steps while you're in there. You go into a lot of these meetings and there's people who are just starting out and they haven't, you know, been through rehab or they've been through a 30-day and only worked the first couple steps. Graduating that long-term gives you the full set of tools to use, and then it's up to you to apply them. You know what I mean?
That's the part right there, you know, remembering to apply them. Because when you step out those doors, that's when it hits.
Yeah.
It
life
is.
on life.
Life on life. You know, there were some days where all I had was just don't drink or drug. That's the only thing I could go off of. That's how tough it was some days, you know? But
yeah,
I persevered through it.
Some days it's 1 minute at a time, you know, but as you make it through that minute and the next minute's easier. You know? You agree, Lawson?
Hell yeah, that's how it is.
We'll be right back.
Did you know that recovery from substance use disorder and mental health go hand in hand? That is why the caring and compassionate mental health professionals at Four Rivers Behavioral Health in Paducah are here to help you find your balance. They are proud of you for making the changes necessary to live a healthier life and would love to see you reach your full potential. Give them a call at 270-442-7121 or stop by the downtown location at 425 Broadway in Paducah, Kentucky.
What other things do you guys have been really important into your recovery? Because I know for me, like I said, it was willingness is where the light came on, but then like gratitude. Like we had a meeting about it last night, just remembering that when I came into rehab, I wasn't grateful for anything. You know, I couldn't even give gratitude in a meeting for the first couple months I was there because I was just in self-pity about where my life had taken me and that I was in rehab and I didn't want to be there. And, you know, so it took me forever to be grateful. But then I got to the point of actually just starting to take advantage of the opportunity and starting to be grateful and realize how important that is to me. Like, I'll have times now, like my struggles is when I get into my head and I start getting in self-pity about not having everything that I want, even though I'm, me personally, my relationship with God, I'm trying to trust Him, you know, and to direct the path of my life. So when I get into that self-pity or when I get into my head about things, it's the things that's always saved me is to switch my point of view to gratitude and remember what it is I'm grateful for, even if it's the smallest thing, gets me out of that funk. It's saved me several times. What else have you
That's probably like what's most important to me is like making sure that I have a solid support group behind me. Because some days, like I'm not perfect, just because I got a little bit of time behind me, I still go through my skits, you know. But being able to have people behind me that will call me on my stuff, you know. Because even though I know sometimes, like I need you to call me out on it in order for me to see where my mind's headed, you know. That's probably the biggest thing for me. Having friends that care enough for me to let me know, hey, listen, you're going backwards, you know?
Yeah.
Another thing, too, would probably be, like, seeing, like, the newcomers come in the door, remembering where I come from, because it's easy for me to forget, even today. Yeah. You know, that ego will start popping out, and I'll start thinking that I'm low-key better than, and, you know, like... Listen, I need to be put back in my place sometimes because I will forget easily, you know. But and vice versa, I'll do the same for you, you know.
Right.
And that's probably what hits home for me the most, for real.
That's what it's about, man.
Because listen, when I was going through my stuff and I had left treatment, that right there, I think that's what saved me the most. Having people around me that cared about me, that were there for me regardless, you know. That's when I really realized, like, who really cared for me and who was there for me. And I'd love to be there for other people like that because I know how it feels, you know. But anybody that's struggling through that, I highly suggest that they just keep it pushing. put God first, even when you're not sure if that's the right thing to do. Just do it. You know, I can't believe where I'm at today. 3 months ago, I was looking for a place to stay. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver's license.
Yeah.
And today, God's provided all that for me, you know, as long as I keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, before I got it, I was wanting it before, but I don't think I would have appreciated it if I got it any sooner than what I did. I'm just grateful today.
Yeah, man. Lawson, what about you, man?
I know for me that, like you were saying, whenever I'm down, I have to remember what I'm grateful for. For me, man, my serenity and my gratitude go hand in hand. Anytime, like you were saying, that I'm down, I have to remember what I'm grateful for. It's really easy for me to get ungrateful in recovery. I'm like, man, I got to go to all these meetings. I got to help all these people, all this. And I can turn a blessing into a burden real quick. That's like with me taking this new job with YPR and everything. I had all this training to do, and I just overwhelmed myself. And I talked to somebody about it, and they were like, man, you are definitely turning your blessings into burdens right now. And I was like, well, I don't know how else to look at it. Like, I'm not just super excited to be doing all this training all the time. And they were like, but
you're willing.
Right. They were like, but you have to realize you get through it, and you'll appreciate it at the end, which I never even thought about. As far as that training goes. I mean, I thought about that whenever I was in treatment. I thought about it whenever I was working my 4-step especially. But yeah, my gratitude and my serenity go hand in hand majorly. Really easy for me to just be completely ungrateful. Really easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, like, and I didn't mean, like, gratitude is important to me all day, every day. That's how I start my morning every day. I get up and I pray personally, and I thank God for everything that, He's given me and where I'm at today. That's how I start the day. I try to stay in an attitude of gratitude. I was just meaning to say, like, when I do have those struggles, that's what also is refocusing and remembering gratitude is what helps pull me out of that, It's a vigilance, man. Vigilance in willingness, never ending, never giving up, having to keep doing this stuff. It's so important to me.
Yeah.
And one thing you touched on, Cody, is absolutely true, that little bit of accountability and the brotherhood, man. Because I know, like, when I got to rehab, if it wasn't for seeing that there were other people there trying to change and better their life, slowly, as the fog lifted, be able to laugh again and form friendships with people. There's the common problem that binds us, that it's like we've been through hell. Even though we may not have the exact same experiences, there's similar experiences. We know what addiction feels like. We know what depression feels like. We know what jail is like. Like, we've had those experiences, and those unite us. And actually, like, trials and tribulations are one of the strongest bonds that unite people than anything, If everything's always great, then you don't appreciate your friend next to you, But once you've been through hell, you appreciate the person who was there with you, you know what I mean? And even if we weren't right next to each other the whole time, we've had those shared experiences. And I heavily rely on my brothers and sisters in this program and in recovery today, because without them, without learning from them, without being able to try to help them, without them encouraging me and me encouraging them, seeing that it's possible that how other people like you guys have handled stress and speed bumps and all the things that you've gone through, and as an encouragement to you, like I said, like, you guys are both younger than me, and I look up to you. You guys are my dear friends now. I love you.
We look up to you too, though.
Yeah. No, we ain't doing all that.
No. You started it, bro.
Nobody looks up to me. I'm just trying to do the next right thing.
Oh,
even like still today, like even like the 10-step, taking my inventory. Yesterday, I woke up. I was going through some things. I was almost late to work. Like, there was a whole lot of stuff going on yesterday, and I'm just like, man. Like, I get to work, and I'm just like going through it, you know. But I remember I had to pick up those tools that I got, you know. And see, it's easy for me to forget, but I had no other choice, no other alternative. I got to sit here, I got to work, and I don't want anything that I'm feeling to reflect on anybody else. So I had to restart my day.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that's even hard for me. Like, Cody, come on now. Like, you need to take a look at this, this, and this, and you need to do this, this, and this to fix that. But I don't know. I'm just grateful I can do that today, you know, for real. And, you know, it seemed like after I did that, my day went just fine, you know. Like, it was good. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. Life happens.
Yeah. It's the ability to be able to do that.
And see, know? through my little trials and tribulations and my bumps in the road, like, when little stuff like that occurs, like, I don't look at it as, like, I don't really, like, I fall into self-pity a little bit sometimes, but I can pull myself out of it. Cody, this isn't anything compared to what you just went through over here.
Right.
So chill out, take a step back, and figure out what you need to do to fix it.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm grateful I have those tools today. For real.
Absolutely.
Hey, for real.
Lawson, brotherhood?
Brotherhood? Brotherhood for me is super important. Like I said earlier, I love getting out and doing fun activities with sober people. And I know that without y'all, not just y'all in specific, but y'all in specific too, without you all, there is no me at all. Because if I would have went through treatment alone, I would have nowhere near got what I got out of it. Being able to engage in fellowship, in brotherhood, having people to lean on is a major thing for me. Because I don't know about anybody else, but for me, whenever I was out in addiction, I felt like I had nobody, you know? And really, I did have people. I just was not in a mind state to be around those people.
Right.
So I secluded myself from everybody. I didn't want other people to know what I was going through. I thought that I could deal with it on my own, which clearly my way of dealing with it on my own is not a healthy way. But yeah, today I don't hesitate at all. If I'm going through something, I'm going to call somebody, whether it be a sponsor, just a friend, co-worker, whoever it is. If I have something I need to talk about, I'm going to talk to somebody that's in the program or whatever it is. I'm going to talk to somebody that is one of my dear friends about it, because I know what happens whenever I bottle all that stuff up too. But one thing Cody was touching on earlier is you go through more and more things, you can look back and be like, well, this ain't as bad as that, and it kind of helps you to keep pushing.
Most definitely.
Also, something that I've realized is the more stuff that I go through, each time that I keep the perseverance and the willingness there, I gain another tool from that experience. It brings another, I'm trying to think of the word, man, almost like a...
It's like almost like another lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you know what to do the next time. That's the biggest thing for me. Like you said, a lesson. I got to learn from my mistakes today. Before I didn't. Today I do. And I'm beyond grateful for that too. But,
I try to learn from other people's mistakes today, you know?
I'm still not the best at that, though.
No, me either.
I'm still
I have
not
to get
the
my
best
feet
at
wet
that.
sometimes and learn on my own. And sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, man, but it's what, like, even the few tests I've had since I've been out on Life, every time I've said no to drugs or a situation that I knew was unhealthy for me, it's built me up and given me even more strength for it. It gets easier the next time, you know? I'm proud that I did it. I'm proud of myself. While remaining humble that knowing that maybe I won't be able to do it next time, but I made it through this time, and that gives me the courage to face them and the tool, you know, as you were saying, or the lesson learned that if I say no to this, I'll feel better, and I can continue forth in this way of life.
Something else I wanted to touch on is kind of about the fellowship, having those people that you can lean on. Yeah, that hits home for me. But what hits even harder is when people confide in you enough to come and lean on you. Like, I'm that trustworthy today to where people can come and throw their problems on me and they know that it's going to be okay. I would have never, it really does. Like, I would have never thought, for real, like, I you know what I mean? Like, it's a feeling that you can't even really, like, explain. Like, I don't know. I
know, just thinking about what I know of you guys and what I know of myself in the past and where we are today, it's mind-blowing. The kind of things that what we do to try to help people, what we do to be a brother, what we persevered through, doing this right now. Can you imagine if back in the day, if we were doing a podcast that was talking about recovery and trying to help people?
I can't even believe we're doing a podcast. I feel famous. For real.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, this is awesome, man. And I think that this was a great conversation. We touched on a lot of good stuff. I appreciate you guys doing this. Like I said, I look up to you guys. I love you guys. Keep doing the deal, and maybe we'll have you get on again sometime.
Maybe.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, for real.
All right, guys. Take care. Welcome, everyone, to CrossTalk Recovery.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.